Nigerians can now fight and get justice for medical negligence caused by medical practitioners in the discharge of their duty. Adanma Odefa Wachuku, a lawyer and public health advocate who has been in the forefront of ensuring justice for victims, says that the decision to punish a medical doctor who was convicted for causing grievous bodily harm to his patient is the right step in the right direction. We have in the studio Adanma Odefa Wachuku, who is the CEO of Diverse Health Help Society, to speak more on this. Good to see you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's an interesting aspect of our daily living now, medical negligence. First of all, make sense of what that means.
Well, medical negligence, you have a level of care that is expected of you. You're supposed to act in goodwill. You're supposed to have consent, most importantly, like this case we're here to talk about, bothers a lot on consent and, of course, outright negligence. The young boy, the child, 16-year-old boy, fractured his knee while playing basketball and was taken to the hospital, this XLC Medical Center, where Dr. G.K. Ferdinand Orji is the medical director. So he sedated the boy, had two other gentlemen there, pulled the limb, and then put the boy in a fiberglass cast. Now, when the boy, after putting the boy in the fiberglass cast, that was when he sent the boy for x-ray. But ordinarily, you should know, you should investigate. He should have found out what type of fracture before deciding on what kind of treatment. But he was hasty. He just put the boy in a fiberglass cast from his thigh all the way to his toes and sent the boy home to go and do an x-ray, and then thereafter send the boy home. So the boy woke up to excruciating pain, and before the mother could even come back with the x-ray results, the doctor had left. So the mother called the doctor and said, this boy is in excruciating pain. And he said, oh, ignore the pain. It will clear off in 2 days. Of course it did not. He took the boy home. The pain was unbearable. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't eat. He couldn't do anything. And so the woman returned the boy to the hospital the next day. This terrible things happened in the space of 2 days. Returned the boy the next day, and then Ejikoji, instead of removing the cast, as the mother asked, he just cut a hole behind the boy's knee. We don't understand why. Even his colleagues at the medical council, when the panel investigated him, could not understand why he did what he did. So when the woman took the boy home again, he discovered that the boy was oozing liquid from that hole. The leg was already getting rotten because it was so tight that the leg couldn't breathe. Blood wasn't coming in. So he took the boy back. She took the boy back. And at that time, the father was getting desperate and anxious about this because they had sent a picture of the x-ray to the boy's uncle in the States, who is a doctor. He conferred with his colleagues, and they said, this treatment is too drastic. This is not the right course of treatment. Take off the cast. The man called Dr. Ejikoji and practically begged him to remove the cast. He refused. The mother of the boy begged him to remove the cast. He refused. Meanwhile, he had no consent to operate on the boy, to put the cast or anything. He was supposed to refer the boy to the orthopedic surgeon, which was what the investigative panel discovered and asserted anyway when they interrogated him. So this continued. Then the dad had to move the boy to a different hospital, took the boy to Reddington Hospital, where Dr. Ike Wachuku operated, did about 6 surgeries on the boy before they could stabilize him. So they discovered the boy had developed compartment syndrome, caused by occlusion of blood to the leg. I mean, blood wasn't flowing, the leg was dying off. So the leg was literally rotten away.
I'm trying to get off that scene off my head.
You don't want to see the picture. You won't eat.
So when we talk about negligence, because you just gave us a clear case you've just handled, and a lot of other people watching, and we've seen people talk about things similar to what you've dealt with. But at the end of the day, nothing is ever done. So how much of awareness are we having to the extent that people understand that they do have rights?
Well, the problem is we have this laid-back attitude in this country, and we just say, that what can we do? You won't raise the dead. Oh, let's let everything go. But we really shouldn't, because if someone had really pursued this, Dr. Ejike Ferdinand Oji wouldn't have done what he did to this young 16-year-old boy. He wouldn't have cost him his leg, which was what he basically did. Though, thank God, because of the grace and mercy of God and how much he helped, the boy is able to walk. But he now has a drop foot. He can't lift the front part of his leg. And of course, one leg is smaller than one, and then he can't fully use the leg. And you don't want to think about the nightmare this boy had to live through.
What are
with 15
penalties?
surgeries.
Are there penalties for those that are found culpable? Talking about
of course
medical professionals.
Do you know the interesting thing? In all these years Nigeria has been existing, this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that a medical doctor is found criminally liable for negligence. Remember the Michael Jackson case, the Dr. Conrad Murray, who was convicted of voluntary manslaughter because he was not an anesthesiologist. So he had no business dabbling into a field that was not his expertise. Now, Dr. Ejike Oji is not an orthopedic surgeon. He had no business performing surgery on this boy. And he never got consent from the boy or from the mother. So he just did what he wanted to do. And he has a pattern and a history of doing this. He's done it with other patients. He has a lot of
Isn't
reports.
this a case of perhaps someone trying to help at the end of the day? Because we've seen doctors, even if you're an ONG expert, there are some few things you can do outside ONG for your patient or for someone who is in dire situation. In this case, you said it was an emergency. Perhaps he was actually trying to also bring some first aid, some kind, intervention. No, he wouldn't. Like his colleague said, his colleagues. Because I just don't want this to be about. I just don't want this to be about the man. The medical doctor you've mentioned several times. Even though you now say he's been found culpable, I'm
he's
trying to.
convicted.
I want us to look at it, holistically. We've seen a lot of people. People have died. Pregnant people have died. People have lost, limbs. People have lost lives. What are the procedures for you to right such, wrongs?
Okay, well, first of all, in this case, it was reported to the police. It was reported to the police because the arrogance, the outright refusal to prevent this, it could have been prevented. Yes, like you said, if for any reason he was just trying to help, he was just trying to intervene, when he was advised to remove the cast, he should have removed it. When he was called from even outside the country by other doctors and begged to remove the cast, he should have. When the boy was in excruciating pain and he could see the leg was rotting,
we still have not been able to enlighten people to know what to do.
Yes.
For anyone watching, if you find yourself in such a situation, what do? You said first you approach the police.
The police. In this case, we approached the police. And then, of course, you report to the Medical and Dental Council. You have to report to the Medical and Dental Council. Then the Medical and Dental Council would refer it to the investigation panel. So the investigation panel carries out the investigation and decide to indict if they see that you're indictable. Don't forget, these are doctors. These are peers. So they know what they're talking about. They know from what you tell them what is what and the level of your culpability. So from the from the panel, then they refer you to a tribunal for a proper trial. So you're tried by the council, you're criminally tried as well. But the criminal trial bit is a landmark. Like I keep saying, it's the first time Lagos State government, they've set the pace with that. They've broken the jinx with that. They've shown that in Lagos State, we take our citizens seriously. You can't just come and not apply the level of diligence and care that you're supposed to apply and get away with it. And that's what Lagos State government has demonstrated. So this, I don't know, would we say we really got justice? Because he was imprisoned. He was sent to 1 year in prison. And then after 3 months, he got off on bail. Now, the cruelty, the horrible cruelty that this man committed was he took a video of himself dancing out of prison and sent to the victim's father.
Perhaps I think that's another matter. But at this point in time, I want to say well done for all you do to help our patients. Adanma, Odefa, Wachuku, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you.